and welcome to another cross-border Kōrero. And it's my pleasure in this interview to introduce you to Anna Armitage, a Year 13 student at Rangitoto College in Auckland, New Zealand. Anna, welcome.
Thank you for having me on.
It's our great pleasure, and I just want to go straight into it, Anna. Um, Please just tell us a little bit about your experience as an international student in New Zealand, Aotearoa, coming from the UK. What's that experience
Yeah,
been like? What's some of the challenges and what have been some of the things that have helped you to adjust to life and learning here?
awesome. So long story short, I moved to Auckland last January, having heard about doing IB, and looking at English-speaking state schools across the world. Came across Rangitoto College and pitched it to my parents and said, "Oh, I think I might like to go there." And then, yeah, overnight, my life completely changed. Moving to the other side of the world where I landed here and I didn't know a single person at all. So it was completely starting from scratch, brand new life, new slate. But I've absolutely loved it. And I think
I
getting
think it's
involved
amazing.
in things.
I think it's great how your parents had this wild, they let you explore this wild idea and go for it. So, good
Yeah.
on mum and dad.
Yes, thank you, Mum and Dad. And yeah, getting involved in things straight away has really enriched my experience because there's such a wealth of opportunities, especially in high school, um, in all sorts of different areas and things that I would never have thought I would have ever have got involved in or had the opportunity to do, whether that's been, you know, traveling to different places in New Zealand or attending conferences or even going overseas for things and representing New Zealand, ironically. So many different experiences and opportunities that have just made it so much more enriching. In terms of
Well, hey, look,
challenges,
we're delighted that you represented us, Anna. That's pretty cool.
yeah. It feels a bit funny because in August I'm going to the International Geography Olympiad. But ironically, I'm on the New Zealand team competing against the UK, which is quite funny. But
Hey,
very,
let, let's just
very
say, let's just
excited.
say, let's just replace proudly, replace ironically with proudly, proudly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think in terms of challenges as an international student, I think often people will think of international students as um, usually not speaking English as a first language. And as a lot of
Mm.
people in the international education sector know, that being an exchange student from the UK is very uncommon. It's very unheard of. And so I think my challenge has been very different to, I guess, what other people would have been in terms of though I speak the language and cultures are somewhat similar. There's actually a lot more challenges and differences than I guess people would imagine. Even the slang or getting used to different cultural norms
Yeah.
as an English speaker as well. Um, but
So you're
again,
saying,
you can
Anna,
learn to adapt.
wow. So you're saying even though you share a sort of a common cultural background, the same first language, there were still
Mhm.
some subtle differences, what we call,
Mhm.
say, below the waterline. If we imagine an iceberg, there are some very visible qualities. We enjoy, you know, fish and chips. It's very visible on a Friday night, and maybe the game of rugby, among other
Yeah.
things. But underneath, there is a whole bunch of values that are not immediately obvious, even to a British international student.
Yes, yeah, of course. And obviously, being an international student always comes with challenges, whether it's homesickness or, there's a huge multitude. And yeah, it's an interesting experience, but I'm sure most international students will tell you it's incredibly rewarding. And at least that's been my
Mm,
experience since being here.
great. I'm delighted to hear that, Anna. Any particular challenges or stresses, cross-border stresses for you? You've mentioned the colloquialisms. Would that be
Mm.
right up there, or were there other patterns of behavior
Um,
or values it took a little bit of time for you to adjust to? Formality, for example,
yeah.
did you find New Zealand a little bit more informal than perhaps British society?
Mm. I think, yeah, that's definitely fair to say. I think perhaps even understanding the school system can be quite challenging, even though,
Mm,
um, again, you'd assume that they're quite similar, they're actually very different. And I think for me, the
okay.
adjustment of going to Rangitoto College, which is the largest school in the whole Southern Hemisphere, 4,000
Yeah.
plus students, compared to my very average, non-exciting British state school, which was probably about 600 students maximum. So a big
Ah,
adjustment in terms of size,
yeah.
but in terms of school culture, what is expected of students, the fact that I have students in my class who are willing to learn, which is mind-blowing. And just, yeah, a wealth of opportunity. And I'd say the challenge, I guess, is maybe a mixture of tall poppy syndrome, which is quite common in New
Uh,
Zealand.
yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
right. That's right. Mm,
and also, I guess, understanding like the way that things are done. Um, and
mm,
I guess
mm.
coming as an outsider, sometimes that can be quite challenging when there's very set in stone ways of doing things. Um, but again, that kind of links to my kind of idea of how I can contribute as an international student. It's almost like what we spoke about at the symposium is the cultural capital that international students can bring to these contexts. Is that though we come to New Zealand for these opportunities and to get a lot out of education, whether you're in high school or you're in university. But also, we come from completely different backgrounds and experiences, and there's so much that we can give back, and what we can like leave as our legacy, whether we end up staying here or not. Just what we can bring with us. I think that's completely shifted my perspective on, yeah, not listening to the tall poppy syndrome and yeah, getting involved in making the most of my time.
Hey, well done for negotiating that, figuring that out and just, yeah, making sense of some of those cultural nuances. And yeah, we're delighted to have you at our symposium. It was a transitions symposium that was hosted by Massey University on the North Shore. And it was great to have you at that table, really lighting up the discussion there and bringing those really rich insights around international students bringing their own cultural capital and bringing their own funds of knowledge. So true. Um, I'm already regretting that these cross-border kōreros are short, and we need to start wrapping. Um,
Mhm.
just one reflection on what's helped you to adjust to life and learning in New Zealand, Aotearoa, or what a tip might be that you would have to for students following you.
Oh, that's a good question. I think making the most of every opportunity is that, especially
Ah,
um, in this, well, there's so many opportunities and experiences that you can have, but not limiting yourself in the sense that it's outside of your comfort zone. That'd be my biggest tip. Leave your comfort zone. It's such an incredible
right.
experience and a
Wow.
privilege to study in New Zealand, and it's the best time to try something new. If you don't like it, then you don't have to do it. You can try something
Mm.
else. But I'd say all of the best experiences I've had in New Zealand so far have been from leaving my comfort zone, and stepping outside the boat, and doing things that I would never have imagined. And yeah, I hope that other international students can feel encouraged to do the same.
Hey, thanks so much, Anna. One expression we have here is, you've been gutsy to come. You've showed some courage and some versatility and adaptability. Uh, and in a way, I like to describe international students as contemporary pioneers. So we really do value what you bring. It's been a delight to chat with you briefly in this cross-border kōrero. And I imagine that for students listening to this and others, this will be helpful. And thank you for being sort of in a sense a light bearer, sort of showing the way in terms of um, taking that step, um, learning in a foreign context, and then recommending some choice tips. Really do appreciate that. And it's been a delight to chat and look
Thank you for
forward to
having
staying in
me.
touch. And somewhat's our great pleasure. And yeah, just farewell and best wishes for the rest of your time studying at Rangitoto College in Auckland, New Zealand.
You. Thank you so
Thank,
much.
thanks so, thanks so much. Yeah, ka kite ana. Bye.